The name origin of Hoa-Sia. By Econ, November 6, 2200 hours, 2005. Econ Notes, a preliminary study of cultural origin theory. Abstract. In the original, the Hoa-Sia, usually Hoa-Sia, ethnicity was generally referred to the yellow ethnicity or even the whole mankind of all the world. This article will simply tell the original meaning of Hoa-Sia, on sides of anthropology, paleography, archaeology, phonology. First, Hoa.
Warrior, flower, yeah, the green flowering plants, angiosperms, cyanure, monkey, yeah, the primate mammals, especially the mankind. The speculation was not unreasonable by Len Huizian in Chinese ethnic history. The Hoa was a totem's name, means floral ethnicity, and the Sia was a self-declared word, which means man. Hoa. The ancient script was flora, a pictograph of front flower with branches, and we know there was a very important script which transformed from totem in ancient China, that is ear, and there is a flower, Kerala, pictograph with top view both on Phaistos disc and in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, and the pictograph of its petals had been simplified to 4 pieces in the Chinese Oracle-glyphs, oracle bone scripts, which are homologous to the Vu, and later simplified into the Christian cross. There is the script Hoa in the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, which with front flower and branch, so the Oracle-glyph should be the variant of it. Hoa and ear, as well as the Di, of Lord God, are homologous to the Shap of Flora. The ear is a pictograph of Kerala, the Di is a pictograph of Kerala with a calyx and a stem, branch, that is a pictograph for a branch of flower, and the Hoa is the pictograph for the whole flower. Therefore, the Hoa was the variant of ear or Di, and the Hoa-Sia can be interpreted as ear-Sia or Di-Sia. The ear was often appears on cartouches of bronze artifacts in the Gry, usually Shoan dynasty, such as ear More, Imam, ear X. The ear was often written as a frame shape in bronze script, Dar Grun, and the real race name is set in it. Hoa-Sia, namely ear-Sia, Asia, the ancient pronunciation of ear, cognated Sunscript evil, pronounce E, with the same tone, pronunciation, as I, or Hoa, same flora, or same as ear, thence its old tone should be inferred to E, cognate the tone of A, in calyx. The ancient script calyx, was homologous to Hoa, and the flora is a word created later and based on the Hoa.
Second, Sia.
Sia is the Sia of the Egypt. See my clumsy article. Egypt was belonged to China. The tone of Egypt is Gy. By Gry-Chau and other books recorded that the Sia was capital in Gry-Chau, state or continent, and the Oracle-glyph Sia and Ge were all pictographs of humans, with heads, hands, and feet. They are more lifelike, vivid, by compared with the script Rin, man, and they were early unsimplified scripts, with pictographs of mankind, humans, and primate mammals, thence the Sia was a human side shape. Therefore, the Hoa-Sia was namely Urgi, with the ancient tone, pronunciation, of the Urgi, was Egi, or Egypt. Thus, the original name of Hoa-Sia, was same as Egypt, thence the literal sense of Egypt, was the Hoa-Sia. If the Sia was the self-declared name of Hu, man, and Sia was a variant of Ge, it can be inferred that the ancient tone of Sia or with the Ge, both of them with the literal sense of man, Rin, which was comparable to the English suffix sa, which also means the man. For example, the man of Japan, add sa after the country name, Japan, which was Japanese. The man of China, add sa after the country name, China, with the Chinese. The old tone, ancient pronunciation, of rin, man, was also pronounced as gy, which is the tone of gi, y, self. The Tungus, the source of Turkic people, declared themselves as rin, and the Chinese later called themselves as gi, y, which really a tone error of self-declared the rin.
Third, comb.
The name of Hoa-Sia, with the tone of Egypt, may be named, not by men, perhaps by gods. The Hoa was the shape of flora, was the form word of totem, prefix, with the tone of ear, and related to totem and worship, so cognate with the dei, which originated from deities or gods. The lower meaning was the green flowering plant. The Sia is a man shape, with self-declared of mankind, thus the variant of ge, or ki. It originated from the animal, man, which was created by the Lord God, and the lower meaning was the primate mammal. The Lord God, or called deity, named the world, earth, as Hoa-Sia in honor for his creation of green flowering plants and primate mammals, which was later inherited by mankind, and still uses the name Hoa-Sia, and pronounced Egypt, as for the name of every bonds under the heaven. The Old Kingdom period of ancient Egypt was actually the Xia dynasty of China, the two De Worlds, pharaohs, of prehistoric legend just to be the Guan and Ryu, and the first dynasty pharaohs could correspond to Xia dynasty kings one by one. The Warring Kingdoms cases, Chris Cases said, in the Ryu of Xia times, there were every kingdoms of thus heroes. Shown Ethos Notes said, the Gaon, and Tint were called the Hoa, and Great Guri was called the Xia, Hoa-Sia was so called the Congo, Chon world, yeah. The Xia ethnic man, namely the old Egyptian ruling class, and closely related to the name of Hoa-Sia. At present, it can be considered that there was or just one ethnicity in the early world with great harmony, that was called the Xia, so called the Xia ethnicity, namely the mankind ethnicity, that was a divided name of species in ancient, and originated in the pictograph of high-level primate mammals, humans. All the men under the heaven, which are all the Xia man.
Thanks. Contact Econ, G-E-N-E-O-L-O-G-Y @hotmail.com.